Let's talk about how most founder pitch deck titles are freaking awful. Uncapped Notes is a series produced by Hustle Fund designed for first-time founders.
Follow us on socials and don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. If you're like me and thousands of founders, then the idea of sitting down to write a pitch deck sounds painful, time-consuming, and intimidating.
I think you're right, Janelle. It's all of the above. And the reality is that no one really teaches founders how to create and construct a pitch deck that is ideally suited for their audience, which is oftentimes venture capitalists. And as a venture capitalist who has reviewed about 20,000 pitch decks at this point, Janelle, I got to tell you, they're all pretty bad.
So what does it all come down to? Where does the magic of that pitch deck that you're going to read come from?
You need to confront the reality that a VC is typically going to spend less than 1 minute in reviewing your entire pitch deck to make a decision as to whether they want to invite you to chat to learn more. 1 minute is all you've got.
So there's got to be a trick. If you're going to spend less than a minute reading something or skimming something that I have probably spent hours, maybe weeks putting together and refining and revising, what's the trick? How can I get it to make an impact with you when you're going to, be skimming it at best?
Yeah, totally, Janelle. So here's like the mistake that most people are making. Let me just describe to you the slide titles for probably 70% of the pitch decks that we see. Here's title number 1, team. And then next slide, problem, solution, market, traction. Those are the 5 slide titles I often see, right? Of those 5 elements. And they are very important. But the problem is that when you're skimming and you're so busy and you're trying to make a decision as to whether this is a team you want to dig into further, those kinds of slide titles do not lend itself for skimming very easily. You're now forcing me to read. How dare you, Janelle?
I'm not telling you anything. Okay, it's not working. So if I really want to be able to tell the story to you so that you can get it quickly and then you decide whether you dive in further.
What to do, right? Okay, well, maybe the best way to illustrate this is with an example, but the TLDR here, if you need to stop the video at this second for this Uncapped Notes episode, is you need to make your slide titles full sentences, whereby if you just read the slide titles themselves, it should relate about 80% of everything that the funder needs to know about your company. It's great context, right? So each of those sentences reads as a full paragraph. Janelle, maybe we should work through an example.
Okay, so while you were explaining the TLDR, I came up with a new fake company that I want to pitch to you.
Okay, yeah, please bring it on, Janelle.
Okay, every year in the US alone, there's got to be a ton of adults who are going to become new parents. Those babies that they're having all do one thing, and I'm not talking about crying. I'm talking about pooping. That's right. And wouldn't it be helpful if every time that happened, you as a new parent were alerted? Because I've heard that having to sit in a poopy diaper not only is uncomfortable and smelly, but it leads to problems down the road. Diaper rash. So I created a sticker that you can put on a diaper. It's reusable and it'll alert you on your watch or your phone as soon as that diaper needs to be changed. What do you think?
Let's create a good set of pitch deck headlines for this. So we're not going to go with the team, problem, solution, market, and traction, generic stuff that we talked about. And by the way, founders, you don't have to go in this order, but if you do touch those 5 pillars of team, problem, solution, market, and traction at some point in your brief pitch deck, that's a pretty well-rounded early stage deck. Okay, let's go for this then. So instead, the way that I would pitch this is maybe the following headlines. Okay, let's go with our fake deck here. Slide 1. 100% of new babies develop a diaper rash at some point due to poo. Let's go slide 1. Slide 2. We expect 2 million new parents in the US alone this year. All of them will deal with dirty diapers. This is a $10 billion a year market. Not bad. By the way, this is all fake data. We did no research on this.
And right there, Eric, so far you've covered in that first slide, that was the problem. And then you addressed market. So you've done 2 out of the 5.
Correct. Thank you for pointing that out. Okay, let's keep going here. We have created a simple sticker sensor to attach to any diaper reusably to track and alert poop for parents.
There's the solution.
The two founders have 10 years of experience building smart wearables for top textile companies. We met as PhD students at insert top college.
Eric, by the way, did you agree to be my co-founder on this, by the way?
We'll talk about that after the recording.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Yes, thank you. So that's a good team slide. And then final one. Our Kickstarter has $1 million in pre-orders already before we've shipped a single product. Okay, so
Hey,
that's
it's pretty
team problem
good.
solution market attraction, pretty much, right?
You've handled them all. You've given each title its own sentence. Each of those sentences, I think if you put it onto a slide, would take up no more than 2 lines. And if you put them all together, they read as a paragraph. Is it skimmable?
I think so. And actually, maybe it's not going to be enough for a venture capitalist or angel to decide to invest, but I think it will be enough for that VC or angel to decide whether she wants to reach out and learn more to get the full pitch from you. And that's what you're going for with these slide headlines.
Okay. And what are you putting? So it's not just going to be titles. What are you putting below the titles on each of these slides, Eric?
Great question. So it's where I spend most of my time when I'm working with founders to put together their pitch deck titles is actually the construction of these titles first and foremost. And then once you have the titles laid out nicely, and we usually do this in a Word document, bullet 1, bullet 2, bullet 3, just each of those representing a different slide title. The next thing that we do is then try to find data within the company to support and augment the statement at the very top of the slide, that title itself. So an example would be, where in slide 2, we said we expect 2 million new parents in the US alone. All of them will deal with dirty diapers. This is a $10 billion a year market. It's a great opportunity to find some data from reputable sources like CB Insights or Gartner or somewhere else to apply that data onto that slide to augment what we're seeing in the title.
Okay, got it. Any other tips for making this a complete deck that founders can send to their potential investors?
Stylistically, I think if you have colloquial language, just talking like a real person and not being too stiff, that seems to vibe really well with today's venture capitalists. This is not like this academic paper that we're writing in college during our fake PhD program, Janelle, when we met each other to create this company, right? It's more about just like speaking almost as if you're talking to a friend, right? So that I think is much more readable, much easier to skim. So feel free to keep it light in terms of tone.
When you do comment below, let us know what you want to hear in one of the upcoming episodes of Uncapped Notes.